All right. I'm just going to try to work on the side project a little bit. Recently, I added in the ability to do subscriptions, and I hooked that into Stripe. I don't know if I fully did it correctly, but I think it should be good. I haven't tested out. I need to test out different things, like the free plan. I should probably test that out. So if I were to actually, yeah, I think what I'm going to work on is I want the ability to, based on the plan, I want to limit how many chat sessions they can have. And I think right now in the schema, take a peek at how this is working. I have sites, and then I have an AI action limit on a site level. I think what I want to do is I need to limit based on the user's tier. And so down here we have a subscription, and we can get their tier. So starter, pro. I should probably add one for free or something. If they don't have a subscription, they could be free. So at the very least, let's make another. Well, let's see what we need to do. So when someone tries to chat with their AI bot, I believe that calls the agent file. Let me zoom out. It's too hard to code when it's zoomed in. Respond to the chat session. Basically, we do a bunch of stuff, and then we have this method, assert within AI action limits helper for the site. I think I could put a hard cap. It's like based on what plan you have, like every site will have a hard cap of so many messages. And get rid of all these fake marketing terms that aren't even actually accurate. Delete this. All right, so if you have the free plan, you get 100 messages. We should probably also say a limit of one site. You know, streaming in the afternoon is not where it's at, right? All right, so what I'm trying to do here is I want to basically, when someone tries to chat with their chat bot, it calls this method. This method looks up the site information to get the current usage, and then it verifies that the current usage is under the site AI action limit. So I actually need to change this. This needs to come from, this needs to figure this out based on the subscription plan of the user. Not the site. Okay, I think I need to pass the actual user ID in here. 1 second, let me just check my YouTube stream. I don't think I have the right chat open. I'm not seeing any chat messages pop up. Yeah, there we go. Alright, what's up, guys? Sorry, I had the wrong chat open. I didn't know people were chatting with me. What's up, Miguel? Love your videos about TanStack Start. When can we expect some Java content? We got a comedian in the chat tonight. How would you enforce the limit on free users, like if someone were to roll free accounts? Yeah, I think the best way is like you'd have to... I'm not really sure, honestly. Like someone could just make a new account, but you have to make your system hard enough where like even if they kept creating new accounts, like they're going to hit a limit of 100 messages, and then they have to go and make a new account, set up a new site, have that re-index their entire site, go to their application and update their site key. So you have to make it like so much friction that like they just upgrade. They would rather just upgrade, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like what the pricing of this thing should be. Like, should it be... It has to be account wide, right? Because like, I don't want to have to make this so complicated where every site's an individual type of subscription. You make an account, you pay $12 a month, you can have up to 5 different sites, and each one of those I want to limit. It's either I limit by the site or I limit it by your account. Right now, my code is set up to limit by site. And I don't know if I want to go down that refactoring path to make it like limited by account or by site. Because I'm assuming people might have multiple sites they want to use this chatbot on. Some sites could be more popular than others. But, you know, I don't have real users, so like don't spend too much time like thinking about what it needs to be. Get it out there and then refactor when you get real feedback. On the chat session. So the way it works right now, on my web dev Cody site, let's go here. I got a little chat bot down here that actually connects to my site Sherpa application I'm working on. And I can chat. And every time I send a message, it increments a counter by 1. And it limits it and throws an exception after I hit like 10. So what I'm trying to do here is based on my account status, I want to increase the amount of messages. That's happening right here. When I actually respond to the AI chatbot, I check and make sure that, hey, do you have enough credits? Not credits. Have you hit your limit or not? And the issue is that the site, previously, I have that like just encoded right here as like some arbitrary constant. I think I'd want to start with just getting rid of this. And then I can try to work my way back and try to figure out like, how should I achieve this? Embedding limit. I think also this and this. So if I get rid of that information from the site, what that might allow me to do is instead, I could pass in the user ID. Wait, does the site not have a user ID on it? It does. Why is that not showing up for me? Oh, this is the chat session. I see. So the messages, get all the messages for a chat session, get the chat session. The chat session should have a site. Yeah, I gotta get the site by the site ID. If it doesn't exist, throw an exception. And then we have the site over here, and we should have a user ID. Hey, thanks for the follow. So now I have to change this a little bit. Instead of this taking in the site as it did previously, I guess I could still take in the site. I'm sorry, I'm like jumping around. Site ID. This is a function. Technically, I could write this abstraction here. Let me play around with the code a little bit. This is going to be the subscription, and we're going to say await context.run query, internal.subscriptions dot, don't think I have a subscriptions. I need to get the subscription by user ID. And that should hopefully get the first one. Okay, let's see if this works. I think it's failing to compile because, like, probably have some TypeScript error somewhere. AI action limit does not exist. Okay, you know what? Let me undo. Sometimes it's better not to delete stuff so that my stuff will still compile. And then extend functionality without breaking functionality. And then I can go back and try to fix it. So this thing could still potentially take in a site ID, which if that's the case, I could just pass in the site ID like I did before. I don't need to check it. But then in here, I can use the site ID. Let's see if it's getting the site. Get the site ID. Get the subscription based on the user ID. What is this one doing? You know, after you work all day and you try to stream, and you're like, dude, I can't even think properly. That's what's going on right now. Okay. The agent calls this. This, for some reason, calls this mutation. Technically, all this code could live inside the mutation, so I'm not sure why I'm wrapping this. Kind of weird. I'm already getting the site here. I'm getting the current usage of that site. This is what I want to change right here. Instead of site action limit, I want to say const plan limit per site equals to get user plan limit. And then I want to pass that here, okay? Now the question is, how do I get the user plan limit? I'd have to basically get the subscription. Are we in an internal mutation? Okay, context db dot subscriptions query subscriptions with index. Let's try this out real quick. If there is no subscription, we just pass in the subscription. Okay. Technically, do I even care about this? We could default it to 100 if the subscription exists and it's a pro. I'm gonna hack this out. If the plan is tier starter, else if. Is this a step in the right direction? I don't know. I do know I don't like these magic numbers. So what I would rather do is I want to have a constant somewhere, which I don't. Default monthly message cap. Year limits. Default monthly AI message cap. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Embedding limit. starter dot. Which one do I want to use? Message limit? Insert within AI action limit. Okay. I feel like there's a way to simplify this. Okay. Yeah, now I'm thinking about this code. Like, I feel like it's a little complicated. Like, first of all, why is there this that just calls a mutation? Like, I could just simply call the mutation from whatever was calling this, like the agent. Like, why not just do this? Why am I making this so roundabout way of doing this? And now I have to also check. I think, okay, so for those watching, I know I'm not explaining what I'm doing. I'm just trying to code. When you chat with the AI chatbot, the first thing that happens is I have to take the user's message and I have to create an embedding from that. That costs money, right? And I don't want people abusing my system, so I have to put some type of tracking of usage on that. Or do I? I could just assume that the messaging and the embedding is like all in one. So like technically I could just check the messaging usage here. But I think what happens, I'm incrementing the AI usage here by 1, making sure that I have enough to do the AI thing. Cite AI action limit. Why is that here? I don't think I need this. Okay, so if we have enough credits, we can go forward. And then what we do is we create an embedding, get relevant pages, get relevant context. We do some queries to get some context. We put it together. We make some, okay, now we do an actual like generate chat completion. So this is doing yet another OpenAI call. The first one does an embedding call. This one does an OpenAI call. And I think again, we probably check. Oh no, we don't. Run mutation, track usage. Track monthly usage, track daily usage. Okay. Yeah, I think I just need to track the message usage. Generate chat completion. Let me go back up here. I might actually make this something different. Bear with me. This is going to be the ugliest code. Copy and paste this whole thing. Assert within message usage limit. The only difference between this and what was happening before is I want to actually check the message limit here. Current usage, messages. And then over in the agent, we're going to call that. Okay. Looks like it's compiling. So the thing I could do right now is just kind of test this out. And I'm going to go to my data. I'm going to test out the free plan because that's like the first. Wait, why do I have 2 of these? That's probably a bug. I really shouldn't have 2 of these. I probably need to look into that. But okay, let's assume I'm logged in. I have no subscriptions. And we should be the free tier if that's the case. And then what I'm trying to do is I want to send a message, which I can go here and say /widget. I don't know what my widget is set to. 1 second. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. Site ID. What's my site ID? Let me just change this to this one. That is the right one. Okay. Let me just make sure. Let me do testing again. We should see this pop up to 9. There we go. We're tracking the message usage. And then if I want to just test that the limiting is working, go back to the index. I'm going to make this 1. Free account gets 1 message. Which should put me under the threshold, which means when I try to chat again, I get an error. We're sorry, but this site has reached its monthly AI message limit. Okay, so that, I think that works. Now it's just a matter of like refactoring the code because I feel like it's overly complicated. But let's switch this back to 100. Embedding limit. You could just insert your Stripe subscription plan IDs directly into your content. Let's see, what are people saying? Long-term lurker in your channel. Well, welcome to the stream. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for joining in on the fun. Is TanStack Star plus Convex is good for enterprise level e-commerce? I mean, you have to describe what enterprise level e-commerce means. TanStack Start is still beta, so that's kind of risky, in my opinion. Like when they get out of beta, which I've heard that should happen sometime this year. But with me playing around with it, I mean, like TanStack Start seems pretty cool. Convex I like. I use it on all my side projects. But again, it's I wouldn't say vendor lock-in if you use Convex, but just understanding the risks as well. If you're using Convex, like your entire database would live on the Convex service. But you can run it you can run Convex on a self-hosted runner, I believe. I've written a TypeScript backend library. Would appreciate if you can have a look at it and give me some feedback. Yeah, I probably won't have time to do that, honestly. Does anyone know how he implemented auth/Thor? What's Thor? How he is implementing auth? Yeah, I'm just using, in this application you're seeing right here, I'm just using Convex auth with Google OAuth. Welcome, Duke. Thank you for the kind message. Maybe you also need to consider the site URL along with the subscription. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Like if there's multiple sites that are all crawling the same URLs, like I could probably just flag their account and ban them or something. Ban them like this person. Get out of here. Do you recommend Nest.js as backend for a mobile application? I had never used Nest.js before. I think I've read the docs. It seems good, and it seems like it has a pretty solid pattern to build out a REST API. I probably wouldn't use it, though. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like the TanStack Start stuff. All right, do I care about tracking the AI action limit? I feel like this is repetitive. Because right now, there's 2 ways. There's 2 things that people can do in my application that could really burn through my OpenAI usage. The first thing is they could chat with the chatbot. Obviously, that's going to track by, I'm going to limit that by messaging. But then there's also context. So every time you upload text, you upload a file or you upload a link to a YouTube video and we have to like download it and chunk it and parse it and create the embeddings. Every embedding that we make, I mean, that costs money, right? There's usage in that. The question is like, how much does it cost and is it worth like tracking? Because you really don't want one person to come in here and like upload 1,000 things and just really run up your AI bill. Like that wouldn't be cool. So you do have to kind of track behind the scenes and put a limit on like how much they're doing some stuff. And then also, okay, so also over here, like if they were to try to index a sitemap that has like 1,000,000 URLs in it, I can't just let my backend process 1,000,000 URLs and create 1,000,000 embeddings for every single URL that it finds. That'll be expensive as well. So it's like I have to figure out where to put limits in place so that people don't really abuse the system. And I want to make sure this is done correctly before I go live because, I mean, I've gotten DDoS on AWS before and it's like a $3,000 bill. It's kind of stressful, you know? You have your little free app that no one's paying for, and then one person who doesn't like your channel decides to DDoS you, and you have to go and hope AWS refunds you. But the way I have it in my system right now, anytime I touch OpenAI at all, I increment some type of usage counter. It's either going to be an embedding usage or it's a chat completion usage. Those are the two things I use in my app. The question is that the user experience, they shouldn't have to know about embeddings. They shouldn't have to see that. That's not a very good user experience. A user just needs to know about like, okay, here's the max amount of messages I can upload, or maybe even the max amount of contexts you can have in your system. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll have like a max context, but then also the max URLs. Like you don't want someone sitting here and spamming reindex site over and over and over again and kicking off tons of like web crawling instances on your application. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I have the messaging. I have the embedding limits, which is basically for context. But then I also have, I think I should just call this crawl limit. It's hard, you know? You don't know what to do. You know, I'm just going to call it message and a context limit. That's it. I'm going to keep it simple. Because context is something I can show to a user, and they'd understand that, hopefully. And then I can just use context limit for when they're doing the crawling, and then hopefully they'll get the picture when they crawl a site, and it uses up their context usage. Okay, so now I got to figure out other places in my system. So like, for example, in the crawler, I have a crawler file. This is also checking limits. The way this works is we give it a URL, I believe. Let's see, we get the site. Yeah, we get the site which has a URL on it, and then we verify that we haven't gone over the site monthly usage, which, what is this returning? Oh, this returns everything. The messaging, the embeddings, the AI actions, which I'm actually going to call this, I might actually rename this to be, you know, never mind, I don't want to rename this. Keep it like that. It's a struggle today. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to do. Like I have a very fuzzy idea about what I need to do to get this working. But okay, so we're in a, what are we in? A workflow. So workflow, run action, run mutation. Technically, I could run that other mutation that we have. Like, I don't think I should be doing this. Internal mutation, assert within message usage limit. Assert within context limit. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do, oh, actually, assert within embedding. Okay, so in the crawler, I think I can actually just invoke this. Because this returns true. Or it throws an error. So like literally I can just say await step dot run. I think the problem is if I run this, I think by default workflows will retry things. And I don't want this to retry. Is there a way to turn that off? Name run at run after. Hmm. Step. Yeah, I'm curious if this will get retried multiple times. I guess we can find out. Put a console log there. I'll just run this, but then I also want to actually have this take in an amount because the crawler, it's going to crawl a sitemap, which could have multiple pages. And so I actually need to say, like, pass in the quantity. And then I need to assert the embeddings plus the quantity. If they're greater than the current, then I go ahead and throw an error. Okay. Am I calling this anywhere else? What's this complaining about? Use. Let me try this. I'm going to go to daily usage. 4114. One of these should increment when I do this. I'm going to re-index my site and see what happens. Oh, embeddings. There we go. So I had 2 URLs. It incremented my usage for that day by 2. And for my month, it incremented this. I'm going to get rid of AI actions when I do that. Where's my crawler? So this should do, it verifies you have enough to do the whole site. And then as it goes through page by page, I think I increase insert with an AI action limits helper. Yeah, I think this one also just needs to think I might do this instead. And then somewhere I track the usage. Right, embedding, up to the page. It's crazy. Wait, but where do I actually increase the usage though? Was that what that other method was doing? I don't think so. All right, focus. What am I doing? Indexing the page. It gets the page. It creates the page. It does this assertion thing, which I accidentally undid for some reason. That's going to do an embedding. And then it updates the page, and then it runs a mutation. Down here, it tries to get page, markdown, generate embeddings. Oh, I think this does it. I think this is where it increments it. Yeah, track usage, costs, tokens, site ID, embeddings 1, AI actions. I'm going to stop tracking AI actions. I just don't think we need to track AI actions. Eventually, I'll just get rid of it. Yeah, I could just get rid of it now. See? I'm going to make that optional for right now. Hopefully that'll compile. But AI actions, they're going to go away. All right, am I on the right track? Go to an individual page, and I'm going to go ahead and just say reindex, and let's check. Monthly usage, this should pop up to 13, okay. Then we also track the cost. So this is like internal for me. I want to see how much my users are spending, because that's going to help me dictate like the limits. If it turns out that a user is spending like $50 a month, but I'm only charging $10 for their plan, that'll help me, I think, recalculate what my subscription needs to be or what the limits need to be. I think this is good. We're tracking the embeddings. Curious why there's not the messaging here. Like, why are we not tracking the messages? Monthly usage. Is that because I'm tracking on the site itself? Oh, here it is, messages. Monthly usage. Oh, I just didn't scroll over. Duh. All right, let me check chat, I guess. Could you give us a rundown on the best practices for app directory structure? I've read through a bunch of articles and they all say different things. Honestly, I don't think the way you structure your stuff matters. I just don't think it matters. I think at some point in my career, I got really focused on like, oh, we got to put stuff in the right place. Like, just get good and not using your tree browser, and like you'll realize that where you put your files just does not matter. I typically tend to co-locate stuff. So like if I'm looking at a page called pricing, I should see all of the files that are related to that page next to it. In terms of like your React components, I wouldn't expect to load up a page and then I have to go to like a components file folder that has a bunch of really specific components that are not used anywhere else. If they're only ever used on a page, the component should be in the file of that page, or it should be in the directory. So what I do in TanStack Start, at least, is I have this this hyphen, I guess this minus sign components. And I know that these are all the things that are going to be on the landing page. So like the index here, all of the components for the landing page will be there. You can also do groupings. Like if you wanted to, I believe you can put parentheses around this and you could say like landing page. And then I could actually group the index with the components. But I don't know. I guess as you get more experience, you stop caring about the tree browser as much. And like you can just Command P fuzzy find whatever you want. I don't know if that helps you at all. I've been on a project where we have like hundreds of files and we group files by types. So if it's like a component or like a page, we put it in a page folder, and then we have like hundreds of components inside of that. And then we have like another folder called components, which has like thousands of components. It just ends up becoming a giant dumping ground. You just like throw files in there. But you basically just leverage like auto import and it doesn't even matter. Cody's mic picked up more keyboard sounds. The ASMR will be top tier. Oh yeah, why is it not playing my do I not have Clack app running right now? That's disappointing. You guys deserve the real experience. Yeah, there we go. Oh. My camera's got 20% battery left. Would you say Streamlight is fine for an application? I don't know what Streamlit is. What is that? Can't answer that question. I don't know what that even is. Hope you're doing well. University started, but I will try to show up as much as I can. Love your work. Hey, appreciate that. Thiago. I don't know if I can pronounce your last name. Vieira. Have you done back-off mechanisms if you are rate limiting on a website? And have you done back-off mechanisms if you are rate limited on a website? Yeah, you can use like exponential backoffs. There's like libraries that do that. There's like a promise retry that has like npm install promise retry and has exponential backoffs built into it. And so you can basically take any type of promise in your node code base. You can just have it retry up to 5, 10, 20 times, whatever you want. And it will slowly add a delay. What's up, Override Tips? Welcome. Isn't backoff too complicated for a simple project? Not necessarily. I mean, if you want to have your code be like correctly implemented, sometimes you have to add backups. I mean, backoffs. Especially if you're dealing with like third-party SDKs, like anything with AWS. I think their SDK by default has like backoffs built into it, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But like, for example, OpenAI. Sometimes you'll make a call to OpenAI, and if you have a bunch of users, you have to find a way to like retry those. Like you either have to retry for the user by adding in some backoff mechanism, or you have to throw the error to your user and say, hey, try again. And then if they try again and they get limited again, it's just a bad user experience. So like, you probably should add in some type of backoffs if you start seeing a bunch of errors with like rate limiting or whatnot. Have you seen DeepWiki yet? That Dev and AI thing was so hyped up a while back. Goes through GitHub repos and spits out a summary of the whole thing. I haven't seen that. Oh, and move file around until, yeah. Move files around until it feels right. Yeah, I have found like the more you adhere to like strict guidelines, it just makes coding not fun. Like coding needs to be like an organic experience, if that makes sense, where like you're writing like a rough draft of a book. And then you come through and you start deleting paragraphs, you move around sentences, you change words out. If you try to write a book with like this hard-coded structure that you must follow at all times, it just like destroys your creative approach to writing the code. But I could see on a larger team with more people, like it's good to have some type of pattern in place with like a design documentation that everyone tries to like follow along with. What do I like more, TanStack or Next? Right now I like TanStack a lot better. No offense to Next.js and their team, but like TanStack, it's just simpler, you know, it's just simpler. You come from Vite, you write a single page application, and then you go into TanStack and you're like, oh, this is literally like the same thing. I just have like some additional like enhancements on top. Versus if you come from Vite building single page applications, you go to Next.js, it feels like a completely different world with a bunch of different gotchas that you're going to waste time on. I will say there's a lot of stuff in Next.js that like were pretty nice, like the image component, the metadata headers. Like you could have like, you know how you can make like those URLs that like generate images and whatnot dynamically based on your routes. Like I think you can do that in TanStack Start, but there's a nice. No way, the image component is trash. It wasn't too bad. What was wrong with the image component? The camera battery died. We'll have the true ASMR experience. What would you rank Svelte Kit? Honestly, I haven't played around with it enough to even give you a solid opinion on it. All right, what am I doing? What was I doing? I'm trying to test out. If I reindex a page, I think I did this already. It should increment my embeddings, and it did. So I want to also test out. If I go to my index, change it to 1 for the free tier. Now it should crash if I try to reindex this page. That's not good. Wait, it worked now. Reindex turning failed. Probably be more useful if it said why this thing failed. When a page fails to crawl, display the failed reason somewhere on the page. Probably a good idea to do that. Okay, I think we're good on the pages. We're good on the chatbot. We're tracking embeddings. We're tracking messages. Now for context. If I go back to text and I create this, that should monthly embedding limit exceeded. Okay, so it is tracking embeddings there. That's good. Let me go ahead and bump this back up to 100. Make sure that works. And I also want to make sure that create text content. What is this doing? Assert within embedding limit. Quantity 1. Then we generate the embedding, and that should also increment. Ooh, what is this doing? Assert within AI action limit helper. Do I want to check that twice, though? Wait, hold on. Where was I? I was here. Generate context embeddings is an internal action, so a user can invoke this. Actually, no, what invokes this? It's invoked 3 different places. And then we actually get to the code. Get the context by ID, assert within, and we generate the embedding here. This doesn't do anything, though. Right. Feel like I should be using that one. Let me just get rid of that method completely. Like, where else am I using this? I'm using it a couple places. Let's just delete it and then watch our code base turn red and go back and fix some stuff. So first of all, this wasn't even used here. It's just being imported and not used anywhere. I think we should be good. Except for there. Being used there. All right, let's just double check. I'm trying to work slow and like meticulously because I don't want to miss anything. And I'm also tired, so it's like I can't really think very well. Why is this commented out? Oh, that's never mind. That's cursor expecting me to add that in. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think this should be good. It verifies that I have enough, and then I generate the embedding, and then it increments my stuff. And I think all of the other methods technically use the same thing, like except for the YouTube one. That one's a little bit different. How does this one work? That calls create text context, assert within the AI limits, and generate context embedding. And that one checks it again. So that's kind of weird. It checks it twice. Update text content. It patches it, and then it tries to kick off. Yeah, I don't need to check this again. Or do I? Title content. Yeah, I think the reason I added this here is because like you don't want someone to like update the text in their context and then like it doesn't actually generate the embedding properly. This is where a comment could be useful. We want to check the limits here before we actually update the data model so that the user isn't confused that their context has the latest data, but the chatbot is returning old data. I think I want to have that. I think that's why I have that here. Because this thing also checks the limits, but it's like, yeah, I think that should be good. How are you doing? What are your thoughts on feature slice design for Next.js? Feature slice design? I mean, I don't know why that would be related to Next.js, right? Isn't feature slice design just like called vertical slice? I've heard it called a vertical slice. So like you implement a feature from the front end all the way to the back, and that's your story. That's your user story that you work on. I mean, that's how we do work at my company. Everything we do, it's like the whole story needs to be from beginning to end deliverable like to a user. You don't have a user story that says add in this little UI widget, because when you add the widget, if it doesn't actually do anything, then that's not a user story. That should be like a task that's related to a larger user story. I don't know if you're asking like something about Agile or not, but yeah. I never really died much in the remix. I think I tried it a little bit. I just, for some reason, remix never really caught my attention. I don't know why. I think as they're like overuse of like web standards. Like I don't want to use form data. I'm sorry. Like I do not want to have to touch a form data object. And the moment that you think the form data object is like a good way for coding out a website, like I'm good. And then also Remix didn't have like server actions. Like that's one of the reasons I really started diving into Next.js is when they brought out server actions, I felt a legit performance increase in like how fast I could write web apps. But now that TanStack Start has server functions, like what does Next.js have for me? Greetings from France. Hey, thank you. Battle's on. Okay, you know, we did some things. We updated some stuff. We're an hour in. Let's just go ahead and commit this. I'm going to say refactoring the approach for tracking usage and limits. Go ahead and push that up. Now there's some more stuff I wanted to fix. I remember that we're tracking some things such as AI actions. We don't want to track that anymore. So where else are we calling that? Just here. Tokens. Okay. These three things need to go away. I don't want them on the site because those are part of the plan. And then that code I added for like the plan stuff, that was the hackiest code I added, so we should probably go back and refactor that. The issue is that we're using site limit multiple places. So like in the UI, technically, I think I should be able to import. I might make another file called constants and export this here. Those things I should probably delete. So anywhere we're using tier limits, like we gotta refactor that a little bit. That can go away, this can go away, this can go away. Where else in the UI are we doing that? Schema, message limit. That's good. Vault monthly, what is this? Inserting. Okay, so when we create a new site, I don't care about putting the message limits there. Is this used anywhere else? Default monthly message cap. Those are not used. I don't think these are used anymore. Okay, that's good. We're cooking. We're slowly cooking. What is this? Sites. I think I need to make those optional now. So these need to be optional. I hope I'm moving in the right direction. You know, it's like you do all this refactoring and you realize that you should have just kept it the way you had. Sometimes you don't know if you're doing the right thing and you just have to do it. And then later on you'll figure out, okay, this wasn't the right thing. At least for me. I think there's some developers who can like envision stuff much better. I'm the type of developer I have to code it up. I got to code it up and see how it works, play around with it, prototype, experiment. If it seems like it's better, then we'll move forward with it. If not, then you're just working off of like speculation, you know? But this thing, message limit, I don't think this would be on the site anymore. So like, I have to refactor this. And I think what I could do is actually just get site usage. I think I could probably just make like another thing called get. Wait, hold on. What is this doing? If we're the admin of the site, it just returns the whole site. Surprised this isn't complaining. Oh, it's because I made it optional, didn't I? At the very least, the message limit, this is a constant now. So I should say, I'd have to like get their subscription plan. I'm gonna go ahead and just say like export const get limits. User limits. So we're going to go ahead and get their user ID. And then we want to get the subscription. And then we're going to go ahead and just return based on the tiers, tier limits. Free, starter, or pro. I think I can do this. Get the user ID. We're not signed in. Just return nothing. Get the subscription. If they don't have one, yeah, this is where the issue is. I think I wanted to do this. This is what I want to do. If the subscription is defined, oh, this is going to be problematic because I think even when they cancel their subscription, I keep the subscription around. So they need to have if they have a subscription and the subscription status is equal to active. Oh, this is going to be painful. I need to rethink this. Then we can use the tier of their subscription. Otherwise, we can make it free. Yeah, it's almost like I'd rather just like, if their subscription gets canceled, I just go ahead and force their tier back to free. I think that would make the code easier to understand instead of having this active inactive thing. I think the reason I did that is like, let's say you have a subscription, but your credit card got canceled. It might be good to keep knowledge that they had a pro plan. It's just that it got inactivated. So that's kind of why I have like this separate status flag. I don't know. Again, play around with it, see if it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the limits like this. I don't need to use a user ID. Let me get rid of the args there. I don't think I need args. For some reason, you have to like pass in a blank object when there's like nothing there. So that's kind of weird. I don't know why convex does that. But now that I have the limits, those come from the backend. I should be able to, where was I doing that before? I could say limits dot message limit. Where else are we doing that stuff? Site message limit. Yeah, this stuff needs to go away. Do I even use a site anymore? Where am I using site? I'm not really using it, so I think I can delete that, which means I can delete this. Hopefully. Okay, let's try this out. I'm gonna go ahead and just like do another test. Go up. And then if I change the constants, this is what I wanted to test. If I change this to like 200, I should see this pop up the 200 in a second. Nice. Very nice. All right, what else do we need to do? Site dot AI actions. Optional embeddings limit. Yeah, so I do want to remove these things. I just don't think I can remove them without it breaking because of the way convex kind of works. Oh wait, there's a red usage over here. Let's see what's going on over there. Update message limit. What's calling this? Nothing. I love when there's a unused function that I can delete. Yeah, so this is the issue. You can't just delete fields in Convex if the data exists in your database. You have to go and write a migration script to null it all out first. So the quickest way is I can just make a file called migrations, and then I'll say const delete site limits equals an internal mutation. And all I need to do is just like loop over every site that I have and just get rid of these limits. I think it's as simple as that. This works for small data sets. I mean, if you have a huge amount of data, you'll have to do this. And they actually have like a convex component that does migrations a little bit more elegantly than what I'm doing. But the cool thing about this is it's just a function, right? So we can go back to convex, go to my functions. I think I can just go ahead and find the migrations, delete sites, and then just like run it. Do I need a site ID? I shouldn't need a site ID. Let me get rid of that. Let me save this. This should have deleted, right? What's going on here? Let me do a hard refresh. I don't know why it's stuck with that error state, but okay, this search bar was I didn't even know the search bar was here. They need to fix that. I'll give some feedback for that. Like it's just not even apparent that there's a search bar there. Anyway, click it. There. Now the data's gone. It deleted everything. I could just go ahead and delete that and it should work. Well, except for this won't work anymore because now this whole thing technically I have TypeScript errors, so I have to like comment it out. Okay, anyway. Why did I do that? Oh, I'm just trying to make the code a little bit cleaner. Oh, cool. Yeah, I think it's better now. Have you considered free open source embedding models for ingesting websites info? I don't really even know if any. I haven't really looked into it. I use OpenAI for everything. It's just easier to connect to their SDK and to worry about like, all these other stuff. Stripe has a pause status. Might be better off mirroring Stripe's enums for subscription stuff. I'm curious, if you pause a Stripe subscription, Stripe is so confusing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. There's so many events they can send you. Like if someone pauses their subscription, do you still get a subscription canceled event? And what does pause actually mean? It just means that they're not, like the next month they won't get charged. And like what event would you actually get when they pause their subscription? I need to spend more time really understanding all the Stripe events. I don't think I have Stripe implemented correctly in any of my projects. I have so many projects using Stripe, and I bet money I do not have it implemented correctly. How do you find creative project ideas? All apps I've ever built are just CRUD-DB wrappers that get boring. Honestly, the moment you add AI into your project, it just becomes more complex because you have to basically do a bunch of third-party API connections. And then you have to like, yeah, I don't know. I say build something with AI because AI typically you need to do embeddings so you can actually like do vector searches over your stuff. And then you have to do like chat completions. You know, you can generate images and other stuff with AI. But this idea was actually given to me by someone else. I literally asked like a CEO and I said, hey, do you have any ideas like what I can build? And this was his idea. He's like, yeah, build a thing, something that can crawl a sitemap and then you can chat with your entire site. So I'm like, you know what? My ideas suck. So I'm going to go ahead and just do what you asked and we'll see what happens. What is the VS Code theme? I'm using bearded theme stain blue. Yo, Cody, how you doing today? You sound blue on that video about microsafts. Yeah, I made that like 2 weeks ago or something. Don't think too hard on it. You know, sometimes you just wake up, you didn't have enough sleep, you make a video, you sound a little blue, the next day you have more sleep, you make a video and you sound good, you know? You have to like take every video as like a day by day thing. You can't just I think that was like that video is just me like venting, you know? And after making that video, I got a little bit more energized to work on yet another SaaS product. Sometimes it's good to just talk out loud. Let me go ahead and just commit this. I'm going to go ahead and say removing the site limits from the site object. It's funny, the current thing I'm working on at work, like it's just like a normal, basically like a giant site of static information. Like it has a CMS hooked into it, but what I'm building right here would be so useful because it could crawl every single page of their site. And then users could literally just like ask questions. Like instead of having to dive through 40, 50 different pages to find what they're looking for, a widget like this, I don't think people understand how useful this could be because they could just ask this widget and then it could just point them to the page that has the relevant information. It could point them to the PDFs that are related. It's just a matter of convincing developers that they should integrate AI-powered search engines over their websites. Because there's a lot of websites out there that are like just a collection of a bunch of, it's like a giant website of knowledge. And having something that's trained specifically on that website, this would be very useful. These are the enums I've encountered in implemented workflows for so far in Stripe. Incomplete, incomplete, expired, trailing, active, past due, canceled, unpaid, pause. By the way, you just scraping sitemaps because sites are now providing llms.txt. Oh, I didn't know about that. llms.txt. I'll put that in the to-do list. That's something that might be worth looking into. I didn't know about that. I think a lot of people probably don't even know what this is. And so if you're trying to make a product and sell it to the average person, they know what a sitemap is. They don't know what an LLM TXT is. But I will check that out. It's probably a good idea to do. Great FAQ page replacements. Yeah. And I think also what you could do, I mean, assuming that this doesn't break any privacy laws, is you could actually, like as people are asking questions with your chat widgets, I could add in a auto-generate an FAQ type of thing. Because some people just don't want to click on this chat widget button. Like I've gone to websites and I'm like, dude, I don't want to click on a chat widget button. Because like, you never know what you're going to experience. Like some of these chat widgets are terrible. The AI takes forever to respond, gives you bad information. But if, you know, once people do start using it, you can get a feel for like what are the most asked questions on your site. And then I could probably find a way to like, I don't know, have it generate. Like you could get insights as to into what your users are really curious about on your site. And that could also help drive the user experience of your website. If you see that like you're getting a ton of questions, like asking like, what's your contact phone number? Then maybe that's a signal that you should put that maybe on the homepage of your app, in the header of your app. I don't know. How do you usually approach pricing on your web apps? Do you follow a specific strategy to ensure it's profitable? Or is it more an educated estimate based on similar products? I mean, you're asking a novice. I wouldn't consider myself like a successful indie hacker. or marketer or business owner, but the things that I have seen is you can do market research or competitive analysis and figure out, yes, like what are other people charging for a similar product? And you could say, okay, I'm going to charge a little bit less because I'm providing less value because I'm just getting started. Or you could just shoot for like a profit margin type of thing where like, okay, I assume people are going to be asking an average of 1,000 messages every month. I need to figure out how much that's going to cost me in operational costs. And then I need to charge my subscribers like a certain amount so my profit margin is at least positive. And then also incorporate how much it's going to cost for your time, or if you're like hiring developers to work on this. Like you kind of have to address it like a mathematical problem, I would say. At least that's my idea, you know? But then it also varies because, like, if you don't have any users, it's okay to, like, go in the negative for the first year. Like, give them more credits, charge them less, take out a small loan or take out some type of investment funding so people can start actually using your product and be productive with it and not have to worry about, oh, I've hit my limit already. That's one way to grow a product quicker is like, go into the negative profit margins for the first couple of years, and then you start ramping up your pricing or you change your limits so you can become profitable, I guess. But I'm just making stuff up. Honestly, I'm just making stuff up. Hopefully it sounds intelligent though. All right. Been streaming for an hour and 20 minutes. Did some good progress on this. I think there's some more refactoring I wanted to do in terms of like security. I have like the same thing I've been copying and pasting through like various different functions to check if they're like a site admin or to check if they're authenticated. And I think there's a way to make custom mutations and custom actions. I just need to figure that out. I think I have something called convex helpers. Yeah, I got this convex helpers installed already. Am I using it anywhere? Custom functions. This is what I want. I want a custom. Let's just start with this. Bro, I'm telling you, everyone at this company, like Convex, like these are the type of engineers I aspire to be. Like these are just, they're smart people. They make great documentation on everything. And this whole service is so cool. Custom mutation. Okay, so we can do something like this. What should I call this though? Utils? Custom? You know, who cares? Just name it something. Write the code and rename it later. Custom mutation. So let's just start with one thing. Here, create text context. I want to basically make this a authenticated site admin mutation. Let's start with that and then we'll see if we can get something going here. So this needs to actually take in, you can expand the custom, this is the expanded customization simplified by the custom. Okay, I don't think I want that. What I do want though is I want to check if they're the site admin. If they're not, I want to throw convex error that says not authorized. Then I want to export this. What is this complaining about? Args is missing. Yeah, I think I can actually just put a v.id sites. Do I even need to return context? I think technically I could, what does this return? This returns a site. Site dot. I think I could return the site. Could probably return the site ID as well, if it doesn't already do that. Actually, let's just experiment. This is a good thing to do. Like sometimes I don't even read the docs. I just experiment with the code, and especially if you're using some typed language like TypeScript, like change some code around and then see what you get. So like this thing, it already has the site ID on here. So there's no reason for me to extend this at all. But if I wanted to, I could put something custom here. For the context, this now has site on it. So I could say const site is equal to context.site. And then I can delete that. Oh, it looks like I wasn't even using site anywhere. I think I might need this in the future, but... Okay, so what's this complaining about? Value does not match validator. At session ID. Get messages. I think that's just because of the page I'm on. Let me like go to the home page. Yeah, I don't think that was related. So now I want to test this out. If I would try to create a text context, make sure this still works. Object is, what did it say? Object is missing the required field site ID. Consider wrapping the field validator and be optional. Hey, thanks for the follow. I wonder if I just delete this. I don't know why that would be complaining. Is that what I wanted to do? Okay, I mean, it worked. I guess that's what we're doing. But yeah, so in Convex, you can make a custom mutation and you can do some custom validation logic. And then anywhere in my code base where I was doing is site admin, which I believe is a lot of places. Yeah. I should be able to instead invoke this thing, get rid of this, get rid of all that. And just go down the list. Except for queries. Hold on. Store API key. Oh, this is something I... Is this still a mutation? Yeah. Oh, but there is... I should probably make this an internal mutation. Was this an internal mutation before? It wasn't. It was a public mutation. Yeah, I wonder how you're supposed to do that. I need to ask the Convex Discord about that. I mean, my first intuition is like we can make a public one and we can make a private one. The private one, like we could either prefix with an underscore to make it apparent to developers, like, okay, this is a private internal mutation, and then we could probably dry out some of this code so it's not like duplicated. We're gonna roll with this real quick. Or API key, was that a public mutation? That was an internal mutation. Now it's just a matter of like, if I accidentally put a public mutation of where it should be private or vice versa, like that could be problematic from a security standpoint, but I think this should be good. Let's just test it out again. Seems like it's working. All right, let's just go through anywhere we're doing a mutation. We're doing a lot of queries, so I'll have to make another one for queries. Yeah, here's one mutation. So oh, that's problematic. Yeah, I might need to rethink what I'm doing here. This one doesn't have a site ID in the args. Because the way we verified is that we went and we looked up the site ID from the context, and then the context we checked to make sure they're a site admin. But yeah, I don't know if this is actually making my code cleaner or more complicated, because now it's like, okay, well, technically this thing, I could make another mutation that takes in a, like I could say, as context access mutation. And then we could do this as context access mutation. And then this could, where was I updating before? I don't know if I like what I'm doing right here. This can go away. Hmm. Yeah, I'm on the fence about what I'm doing right now. I'm using Clack app. What's Convex used for? It's used for the backend, like all the backend processing, the API endpoints, the vector embeddings. How do you know when to throw a new error or when to let it bubble up? I guess when you think that you need to actually do something with the error, like that's a really good question. Let me show you. So when a user talks with the agent, when a user is trying to have a web, like a single page of a website be crawled, I basically need to set some status in the UI and show it as crawling. And then I do some stuff, and you'll see down here, for example, hold on. Wait, is this doing crawling for twice? Existing page. I guess here's a good example. So like when I'm trying to crawl a single page in a website, I first try to like download the page contents, and then no, I don't. I make sure they have enough credits, right? And so technically, if I just ran this outside the try catch, this will throw an exception or an error, and I wouldn't be able to in the UI update that data model to say that, hey, this thing has failed. So this is a specific scenario where it's like, okay, I want to catch this, because if they don't have enough credits to do this action, I still want to catch the error so I can do something custom, like update some data model somewhere, or, log something extra, or maybe fire off another third-party request to something. But then I just bubble up the error again because I want that original error where like it ran out of credits to bubble up, but I want to do something in addition to bubbling that up. Now, sometimes you'll have stuff that throws errors and you might want to catch it and just could like swallow the error. Like you don't bubble it back up. You just do some additional like thing, like treat it as like an if statement. If this thing fails, then I'm going to do this other scenario. And that's when you probably wouldn't just throw that additional error. You do your extra stuff. And maybe you just like return because everything still worked. You just had to take another approach to doing it. Don't know if that answers your question, but there you have it. Okay, this one we could do a public site. And then we don't need the site ID anymore. Generate upload URL. This one again. Process file contents internal action. You know, actually, I wonder why did I even need the check? If this was an internal mutation, why am I even doing this? The thing that's calling the internal mutation should probably check if you're a site admin. To do, I don't think I need this. Auth should only need to be verified on public mutations, actions, etc. I think this is a code smell. So I'll just leave a little comment there so I remember to go back. And then like at some point, you don't want too many of these like littering your code base. You can just do a quick little project search to find it. Or if you want, you could just go to your to-do and like, you know, add in a cleanup task there if you want to. But yeah, so we got a lot of places that we're still doing this stuff. We have some queries. Here's a mutation. Reindex page. Takes in a page. So technically we could make a custom here that says export const has page access mutation. And then we could do that. Go back over here. Don't need the page ID anymore. Don't need to fetch the page. We don't need to check if you're the site admin. And the page should be on the context now. Look how clean that is now. Query station. What's this doing? This is doing a site admin. Okay, so let's do that. What's going on here? Context, site ID. Okay, let's do that. Uh-oh, user ID is not on there? Wait, that's problematic. Oh, what did I do here? Deleted something on accident. Site is site admin. That's kind of confusing. I don't like what I'm doing here, but I'm too lazy to think about a better way to do it. So let's just do that for right now. Which means we might have to go back and fix a bunch of stuff. Usage. The query. Here's mutation. Delete the site. Okay, so arg site ID. Yeah, I really hope this is secure what I'm doing because if not, Every single function will be insecure. But I think the only thing left, we have queries. We have a bunch of queries that we could probably refactor. Oh, here's a mutation. Delete context. As context access station, so we don't need the site or anything like that. All right, why did it bring in storage ID? What's going on there? Delete the context. This will be the last refactoring I'll probably do. I think we're making some good progress though. Thanks for joining, team. We're doing a good job. Export const as site access query. Let's do a custom query. And this is going to do, if there is no site, return I might need to do a factory function for this one. I think some of the, okay, so what is this doing? This is doing a custom query. It's expecting a site ID. It gives it, make sure that you are site admin. And then get API key. What is this doing? This one throws an exception. So I think I just want to have this return null. I don't know. What's this complaining about? Q has an implicit. I don't know how that one's gonna work, but here's another query. Chat session ID. Okay, let's not do that one. This one should work good. Yeah, this is breaking my typing. There's something with how I'm doing this. Is probably not going to be good. I'm going to undo this. I don't think I'm on the right path here. I'm actually going to undo this too. Looks like we're not using anywhere else other than here. But yeah, I think that's a good start. I need to think about how to do the queries. Cool. All right, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for joining in. I think I'm going to end the stream here in a second. Unless there's any last questions you have for me. Let me see how many people are in my stream right now. Streaming at night is never really fruitful. How many people are online at night compared to in the morning? But it helps me get some stuff done. Custom query. Throw new authentication required. Yeah, I think I'd rather have it throw an error. I know I'm going to have to refactor a lot of my front-end code to handle that. And probably add some type of like React suspense boundaries until I know I'm completely authenticated. But I might save that for another day. Yeah, thanks for joining MXN Trass. I appreciate you giving me some information and stuff about Stripe, about LLMs, EXT. I'm also gonna put this on my to-do list to I would be curious, like, so whenever the Stripe subscription changes its status, you actually have an event that updates your database to track that, and then your code will, I don't know, do different logic depending on what they have. Some stuff, incomplete, expired, trialing, active, past due, canceled, unpaid. I think the one thing I need to double check is if they pause it, like that's something like a Stripe customer can go into their dashboard and pause a subscription. Like, what does that actually mean? Because when it comes to Stripe, I'm only handling a couple events. I think I'm missing some. Like when they first do the checkout, I create that subscription record. When that subscription gets updated next month, when like, you know, their payments renewed or whatever, or if they were to go and like upgrade to the Pro plan, because that's also an option, I just go ahead and I make sure I track their tier that they upgraded to. Checkout session completed. I know there's like payment invoice successful I should probably be doing something with, but I couldn't figure out how to link that back to the actual like user. And then subscription deleted, like when is this one sent? If they don't pay, if they pause their subscription, is this ever invoked? Because I should probably be updating, update the status here if a user pauses their subscription. I guarantee you my logic for subscriptions. If you have a link to like a minimal Stripe working example of how to listen to these webhook events, because I've looked at some examples and they have like 50, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 events that they're listening for. And I'm like, there's no way we need that many events to successfully know when a person's subscribed or not. I'm looking for like the bare minimum. What are the bare minimum events you need to successfully get that stuff set up? If payment fails, I think subscription gets paused. So you think that this might not be to do? Check if this is sent when a payment fails. Bro, it's like you need a PhD to understand these Stripe subscription webhooks. Theo had a GitHub repo for it. Oh yeah, he made a video about that, didn't he? I need to go and search his channel for that one. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight. Cool. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this stream. I might try to make more videos like this where I just kind of like code in like a chill code stream. I really need to like make another channel though, because I still want to make like more beginner friendly tutorials. I just feel like I have two separate audiences on my channel now. I have like intermediate and advanced people who just like watch me because they want to, I don't know, just hang out and hear me ramble and stuff. Like I even have coworkers who watch my stuff, which is pretty cool, but also it feels kind of weird, but it is what it is. Like, you can never truly be yourself on YouTube because you know there's always somebody watching. You don't want something that you say to get bubbled back up to somebody, and then you get in trouble. Cool. Well, thanks for joining the stream, guys. I enjoyed your company. Hope you enjoyed watching me. And maybe I'll stream again like Sunday or something.